If you're watching this video, this means that you need some guidance for example number 2. So, things to ask ourselves is, it's asking us to write a cosine function. And we know that cosines can start at the maximum or the minimum, not the midline. So, when we go ahead and write our equations, we know it'll be y equals some a value, cosine, some b value, x minus our c value, plus our d value. So let's go ahead and identify what those values are. But remember that the c value is always going to change based on location, and the a will change based on whether it's positive or negative. So to start, our midline is found by taking our maximum point, which in this case is 7, plus our minimum point, which is 1, and dividing by 2. So our midline, our d value, is at 4. So we can go ahead and add that in place of d. We find our amplitude by taking our highest point, which is 7, and subtracting it from our midline, which is 4. Therefore, our amplitude is 3, as you can see that distance right here. Now, we have to figure out our period, and our period is made up of 5 points. You guys know me, I always like to say, let's start by counting from 0. However, you don't always have to. So our starting location at 0, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, if you notice, if we start from 0, there's not 4 or 5 points. So in this case, let's go ahead and start at negative pi. So negative pi is our starting location, and we ended at 3 pi. To find our period, we say our ending location minus our starting location. When we subtract a negative, it becomes addition. So our period is at 4 pi. Like you guys know, our period isn't the b value, so we need to solve for it. To find our b value, we always take 2 pi over b and set it equal to our period. Since it's 4 pi, we can go ahead and put it over 1 to cross multiply. When we cross multiply, we get 2 pi is equal to 4 pi times b. Let's go ahead and isolate our b value here. 2 divided by 4 is 1/2, and pi divided by pi simplifies to be 1. So our b value here is 1/2. So let's go ahead and fill these things in now. Our b value will be 1/2. Our d value will be 4. And our amplitude will be 3. Now we need to pick locations. So we said cosine can only start at a maximum or a minimum. So in this case, I noticed that this point here located at negative pi is at a maximum, meaning that our a value would be positive, so we can keep the positive 3. And if we put in a negative pi here, a negative minus a negative is a positive. So that's one possible equation. All right, so now let's go ahead and, well, you might not have picked that point, so let's pick a different one. Well, we said it could be at a maximum or a minimum. Well, I see at this point here at pi, that's at its lowest point. So we can still have our y equals, okay, we have our a value, we have our b value, and our d value. No matter what, our midline will stay the same. Our b value, the period in which our graph travels, will stay the same. Now, at pi, it's at a minimum, so that means our amplitude needs to be negative. Since the minimum was located at pi, when we put it in here, it'll go ahead and stay negative. Okay, maybe you didn't pick either of those, and you said, I noticed a maximum at 3 pi. That's awesome. We can write another equation. Y equals cosine, because we're writing cosine functions here. Again, our midline is not changing. It remains at 4. Our b value is going to stay at 1/2. Our amplitude is at 3. And now let's check in. This was a maximum, so it's going to be a positive 3. And that maximum was located at 3 pi. So minus 3 pi. Those are all possible solutions for a cosine function.